Good afternoon and welcome to the latest Friday Afternoon Live. I'm Kevin Reid, editor of Accountancy Age. I'm here in a slightly overcast and autumnal Hammersmith, the Swan Pub, to present today's show. My trusty cameraman Callum and I here in Hammersmith, giving our new office a try out. We'll be moving over here full time in a few weeks or so. So we thought we'd try out the Swan Pub as our new venue for our Periscope broadcast. So lovely to have you on board, and we're really enjoying it here. Pint of cider, all is good. Okay, so we've got a few things to cover today, so I'll try and get a wiggle on. We're going to talk about ACCA's AGM, I should say the ACCA, they don't like being called ACCA. The AGM was yesterday, so we'll talk a little bit about that. Margaret Hodge is not giving up on tax campaigning. She has left the PwC, but she is back in a new committee dealing with tax fairness, so we'll talk about that as well. And last but not least, PwC has tied up with Sage for a new online accounting offering for SMEs. So there are three big issues to cover of the week. And yeah, let's start at the beginning. So ACCA's AGM was yesterday. You'll remember we've covered that in the last couple of weeks on Periscope and on the Accountancy Age site. The AGM was interesting to us because there were a number of special proposals or resolutions posed, well, revolution probably a good term for it actually, posed by Tony Thorne, an ACCA member, and basically these revolutions were aimed at looking to change the governance of the Institute, and they also included a proposal to have ACCA's executive under the same disciplinary process as members. So these proposals were put forward at the AGM yesterday, and Tony and his resolutions lost in terms of the vote. A couple of interesting things that came out of that fallout from the vote itself. Firstly, on the disciplinary process proposal, the vote was lost by Tony by just one vote. So it'd be interesting to see whether he fancies a recount on that one. Secondly, there were only 5,000 votes cast in total, and that's basically about 5% of the ACCA's membership. So, you know, it's kind of is it a Pyrrhic victory for the ACCA? It's kind of interesting that they don't seem to have got their anyone seems to have got the membership engaged on the voting front. The ACCA have said that, you know, their membership is content, and therefore they haven't bothered to take part in the voting process. But obviously there were some thousands that weren't content and voted against the ACCA's current governance situation. So we shall watch with interest to see whether Tony Thorne will push on with this campaign going forward. Is he energised from the response that he got, or is he feeling all beaten up and you know, tail between his legs? So we will see and watch that very closely in the future. Okay, so that's the ACCA dealt with. Next we have Margaret Hodge, and yeah, you may have heard of Margaret Hodge. She headed the Public Accounts Committee as chair, and during that period, you know, led a big campaign to deal with tax avoidance issues and basically trying to get big companies and rich individuals to pay more tax. She also gave the big accounting firms lots of stick, saying that they were complicit in helping keep funds away from the Treasury. So Margaret is no longer part of the PwC from the last election, but she doesn't appear to be giving up without a fight on the tax front. She's joined, she's now head of the Tax Responsibility Committee, which is backed by a number of kind of lobby groups and think tanks. Oxfam and CIPFA, the Public Finance Institute, also on board with this. It's a cross-party committee. Now, that's really interesting because we're wondering how this will operate without clashing and treading on the toes of the Public Accounts Committee's work. In fact, this new committee of Margaret's also has Richard Bacon on board, and obviously he's part of the current member of the long-serving member of the PwC as it is. Will she be able to control her ego and let the PwC get on with their stuff while she campaigns on other aspects around tax? I think that's going to be really fun to watch, and I think that Margaret is going to continue to make headlines in this role. So it's another watch this space. We will be talking to Margaret very soon on the matter, so please keep an eye out on accountancyage.com for more information about that. Last but not least, PwC has tied up with Sage, and this is basically an online accounting offering that's aimed at SMEs, and it will bring together basic accounting for clients, but also use PwC's an analytical nous to offer a slightly broader service to SMEs. And as I'm sure you're aware, all the other Big Four firms have tied up with online accounting providers in recent months. How's this all going to work? You know, SMEs want basic information managed on their behalf, and then they get to a point where they want their accountant to hold their hand and provide them with further advice. Would they want to go to PwC for this? It's a bit of a moot point. Would they want to go to any of the Big Four firms? They tend to be very expensive, as their big audit clients will tell them. And you know, do we want Big Four firms providing services all the way down the chain? You know, what do they do? Who is their key market? So there's obviously a lot of change going on. Smaller accounting practices, I think, are nervous about this. But it won't just be the Big Four firms offering online accounting solutions. So practices have just got to adapt or die on this front, really, and really focus on the hand-holding service and personal service that they can provide. Right, that's about it, because my throat's getting sore and dry. I mean, I need to get back to my cider. Callum, trusty cameraman, have we had any questions?
Somebody wanted to know if we're sponsored by Greece, presumably because of a flag. So maybe tell them about who that is.
That is not a Greek flag. I'm not an expert on flags, but apparently it's the Uruguayan flag. No, it's not some kind of Greek financial crisis metaphor that we're going for here.
Rugby World Cup, right, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's more to do with the Rugby World Cup, quite frankly. Oh, go to financialdirector.co.uk to read our interview with England RFU CFO and England 2015 MD Steve Brown. It's really good stuff and very timely. Right, I'm going to get back to my drink. Have a lovely Friday afternoon. Don't drink too much. Make sure you've got everything tidied up for Monday, and see you on the other side.